this video, we'll walk through step-by-step how to paint a 3D printed figure of Sméagol, also known as Gollum, from The Lord of the Rings. We make the white paint slightly watery, like watercolor, so the next colors can be applied more easily. Mix cadmium yellow and red with white. Once we reach a fresh tint, we add umber to make it richer. Spray on the base color. For the light tone that goes on the base, use white, black, sap green, and red. Don't dilute this too much since it will be applied with foam. If it's too watery, the texture we want on the statue won't happen. To start painting the character, begin by outlining the eyes. Dilute umber into a watercolor consistency, and with a 5-0 brush, outline the eyes. This defines the lash line. Next, I make white into a watercolor consistency. With a fine brush, paint the whites of the eyes, avoiding the lash line we painted earlier. Using the same shade as the eye outline, paint the iris. For the highlight inside the iris, mix white, a touch of umber, and a little blue. Make sure not to erase the shadows around the eyes. For the darkness in the center of the eye, make umber very watery. If you make a small mistake, you can fix it with the previous color. Add a little white to the iris color. For eyebrows and hair, add Van Dyke brown and umber to the skin tone. Pay attention to how the color is mixed so it's not tricky. Don't add darks quickly into lights all at once. When mixing colors, add gradually instead of combining all at once. Before painting, touch the brush on glass to ensure there's little paint on it. Then paint the eyebrows. For hair, use the same eyebrow color, diluted, and apply with a 5/0 brush. For facial shadows, I use umber and red. For the inside of the mouth, I use a worn brush and the shadow color, as the spot is hard to reach and may damage the brush. The mouth isn't too visible, so that's fine. Remove excess paint with a clean brush. Around the eyes, I make the shadows more linear to create wrinkle effects. Using the same facial shadow color, outline the eyes again. Mix skin tone with a bit of viridian green. Very lightly paint behind the lips. Using umber and red, create the wounds on the face. To soften them, brush a watercolor layer of skin tone over the wounds. Draw a line here with umber. Apply diluted red as a wash to the skin. Quickly use foam before it dries and stains. Mix skin tone with a little viridian green. Apply with a piece of foam. Use very light pressure so the new paint doesn't get into recesses already painted. Only paint the raised areas. If the foam is too saturated, dab it on a tissue to lessen the paint. Pour nails. Dilute umber into a watercolor consistency. For skin tone, use a mix of skin tone and viridian green. For his shorts, mix sap green and a little red. For the texture on the shorts, use bandage fabric. Pull the threads a bit to make the weave larger. For the texture highlight, lighten the shorts color with white and yellow ochre. Place the bandage fabric on foam and brush paint onto it. Don't dip fabric directly into paint. It will absorb too much. For the golden ring, mix gold paint with a touch of black. For the base color, spray a mix of blue and umber with black, and then add a foam-applied layer of white, black, sap green, and red. That's how we painted our 3D printed Sméagol figure from The Lord of the Rings. We've got more tutorials on painting 3D printed figures. Check out our channel. And if you enjoy these projects, don't forget to subscribe for more.